What's up, guys? Welcome back. I just want to give you guys like a little quick tips and tricks that I figured out while I was playing Sage all these hours. I really want to give you guys a little bit of just a beginner's guide almost, really, because I had a lot of trouble in the beginning trying to figure out my skills, and I don't want you guys to kind of go through the same thing. It's not as hard as I made it, so I want to hopefully improve your gameplay right off the bat. So here we go. First things first, number one, I want you guys to understand the Sage Trinity. What you have to do is create barriers, then heal, then burst attack, reset right after that. Barriers, heal, burst attack, reset. Now there will be times where you attack in between that and you're attacking and healing at the same time, but that's not often. Alright, that's not often. You're gonna follow it in that order: barriers, heal, burst attack, reset, most of the time. Now number two, you have to use this skill, EUKRASIA, right? You have to use this skill. Why? Because it gives you, let me show you, it transforms these skills to diagnosis and prognosis, right? The EUKRASIan version. This is a barrier, this is a damage over time. Now let me explain the difference between diagnosis and prognosis. You're going to use this a majority of the time, this one, diagnosis, because it's going to be the easiest at first. I'll let you use your judgment on when to use prognosis, because there is a difference in how much damage the barrier can take up, but there's also a very large difference in just utility. Like, if, let's just say for instance, if nobody's getting hit but the tank, I would probably use diagnosis. Now if you feel like you need to use a widespread barrier, I'm gonna leave that up to you. I feel like diagnosis works just fine. I haven't had any problem, never really needed to cast prognosis just yet, at least in the beginning, and that's what we're talking about right now. So that would be number three. Diagnosis and prognosis is fully mobile, meaning I do not have to stand still to do this, right? I can cast barriers while running around healing myself or somebody else. I don't have to worry about it. All right, this, the purple one, Deosis, right, is a damage over time, right? See, damage over time, right? Now if you never press EUKRASIA, this is a normal attack, it's not a dot. So you want to use EUKRASIA, then diagnosis, then I would use it again to get your dot off. That's going to probably be your standard setup for when you're creating barriers, right? Number four, right? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the gauge. So the blues are mostly for heals, right? The purples, these at the bottom right here, the purple part of the gauge, are going to be for your attack burst phase, right? This little one right here, this is just for EUKRASIA to let you know that it's activated and that you can now use a barrier, right? Or a dot, right? That's all this one is for. The blues will fill up on their own while you're in battle. These, the purple ones, will fill up as your barrier is hit by an attack, right? So there's nothing that's going to trigger these, at least in the beginning so far, unless your barrier is taking damage. That's what triggers the purple ones to spawn here, right, on your gauge. Now that we've simplified, blue means healing and purple means attack, right? Let's go over to number five, right? Let's talk about DRUOCHOLE, TAUROCHOLE, and KARUCHOLE, right? I put them up here. You can organize them however you want, but this is where I put them, and I'll tell you why I put them like this. So this doubles your next healing spell by 50%. This one at the moment is probably one of my bigger healing spells. 700 cure potency, we're going to double that. This next to it, DRUOCHOLE, is 600 cure. The difference between these two is that this has a cooldown and this one doesn't. They both take up gauge. Now, the reason I set them up like this, 1, 2, and 3, is because you cannot use both barriers at the same time. So, if I was to use this one, right? This barrier is activated here, damage taken reduced. I cannot stack that with this one, right? So I have to use the barrier separately, and I want to be able to see the timers on them, right? Now I can use this barrier, right? So you can't use these simultaneously. So I like to look at them at the same time in this format, right? But like I said, this one can be used whenever, as long as I have a blue gauge available. I can use this one as much as I want. This is my 600, this is my 700 with a barrier. If I don't have this barrier, I can now use this barrier. Does that make sense? I hope it does, because that messed me up for a good little second when I first started playing. Alright, moving on. So then we get to the purple gauge. Like I said, I'm not being attacked right now, but the purple gauge is going to glow right here. It's whenever your barrier takes damage. Alright, and that is going to be for TOXICON, this right here. Now I think there's a TOXICON 2, but in the beginning we don't have that yet. But TOXICON is going to allow you to do your attack burst phase, which also heals you. And whenever I use TOXICON, I use this one, Soteria, right? So it increases the cure potency of any KARDiON effect granted to you by 50%. So that means while I'm attacking, I'm going to be able to heal at the same time. So I've been finding some success using these simultaneously, because I'm not doing big heals or big heals, right? I'm not doing big heals here. I'm going to start attacking and healing simultaneously. Now, I can do that with this, right? I can do that with this, but it's not the same. Now, I will show you this. This is what activates the KARDiON, right? So, look, I'm going to use an attack skill right here. I'll show it to you. I just gained health. So I can attack and heal at the same time. Now, simply because I don't have a gauge to do this, I'll use this one instead so you can just see it. Now I'm in double. I get a bigger heal. Does that make sense? So I'm attacking, healing simultaneously. Now it goes back down to 1,000. Does that make sense? That's why I said whenever I'm going into my burst phase, when I have these lit up and I use TOXICON, I normally pair it with this, Soteria. That will now explain the attack phase for you. So remember, you could use doses, but when it's not a dot, it's not instant, so it takes time to cast, and you cannot cast it instantly, right? So let me show you this. Watch. 2 seconds to cast, heals 1,000. Insta cast also heals 1,000. See? So use this for the dot, right? And if you just want to heal, like you're running around and you're trying to heal people or heal yourself, or maybe you ran out of blue gauge and you're freaking out because you're the healer and you're supposed to be healing people, maybe this one, maybe that. You probably should have run out of blue gauge like that. But if you were just panicking and you had to throw some heals out there, maybe this would be the way to go. You try to run around and heal at the same time. That's how I would probably try to do it right now. You don't have much else if you don't have that gauge ready, and you got to stand still to cast some of these. So the reason I have this set up like this, so I have diagnosis and prognosis, then I have DRUOCHOLE and EUKRASIA right here. is because both of these AoE, both of these single target. These cost blue gauge, these cost MP, right? Does that make sense for you guys? These are insta-casts. These I have to be standing still to cast. So I like having those on the same bar, right? Just in case, right? So these consume gauge, these take time to cast. So you're pretty mobile, and I like that. I like that because I play a lot of red mage, and I love being mobile while being able to cast magic. So I'm very happy, and I feel like I'm gonna have a crazy amount of fun playing this class. Alright, let's just finish up. So this one here, Phlegma, pretty simple. You got to be pretty close. You cast it, make sure you got one charge going at all times. You know, that's pretty self-explanatory. You ain't got to make that crazy. Oh, I forgot about this over here, excuse me. So HAIMA, I'm going to go with that. Let's go with that. This actually comes in stacks, and it gives you a barrier for up to 5 stacks, and once the timer is complete, it will heal you. So you'll get some damage nullification, and then you'll get a heal at the end of it. Now, I also want to talk to you about this, why I said diagnosis is probably the best way to go. So while I'm doing my diagnosis timer, right, as I see it count down on my screen, I can also turn this into a heal as well, right? So this skill over here, PEPSIS, bam. If I click this, this turns that barrier into a heal for me. It gets rid of the barrier, but the barrier was about to time out anyway. So if you start paying attention to that and you start timing these, right? If I put a barrier on myself, I see the barrier is about to go away. I have this available. I can turn that into a cure. Now, you will also notice that diagnosis gives a bigger cure than prognosis, which is why I'm also been using that more for diagnosis than prognosis. Now, don't get me wrong. Prognosis has its time. Don't get me wrong. Prognosis has its time. But I'm just saying, at the moment, with the current content that I've been playing through, haven't had to use it that much. So don't focus on it too hard right now. We're just talking about the beginning. Last but not least, number 10, all healers better have this. Please, swift cast and a res right next to each other, easily available with some knockback mitigation ready to go. And I'm pretty sure that's it. I mean, you got a couple standard things like, you know, lucid dreaming, Esuna, gap closer, sprint. Please have sprint. But other than that, man, that I hope that saves you a crazy amount of time. I really, really, truly do. Right? This has to be activated for you to attack and heal. Like, if I didn't have this activated, I don't think I can unactivate it on myself. But if I didn't have this activated, this attack would not heal me. Alright? So you gotta be careful who you place it on. Right? And especially when you're going through that first class quest. Yeah. They don't really explain a lot to you. And I mean, they give you like 3 skills that you're like, oh, okay, well, what does it really do? But I'm telling you what it does. It allows you to heal yourself and attack at the same time. That's what that's for. I'm allowing you guys to see it through my eyes. So hopefully the way I have it set up, you guys will set yours up like this. Right? And you'll be able to get much better heals off. Your timing will be so much better. You'll go through the barrier, heal, then attack phase. Because as you're getting hit, as your barriers are getting hit, it gives you the little attack gauge right here. The purple gauge will be right here at the bottom, and it'll allow you to use TOXICON, right? That way you can get off some big damage and big heals while you're trying to clear through some things. It's not going to be that great. You're not going to be a DPS, but it does feel DPS-like. Make sure you like and subscribe, guys. I hope you enjoyed the content. I really hope this helps a lot of you guys out so you don't struggle when you first start playing Sage. Peace. I got the PvP content coming soon, guys. You know I'm going to do the PvP. I got the PvP guide coming soon.